Season 7 of Supernatural. I just got done watching it because I'm still on my quest to catch up before Season 10 starts. So, let's talk about this. Season 7. This is gonna hurt me to say this because I love Supernatural. I've been enjoying binge watching it like I have. Sure, some people might say you're not a true fan because you haven't been watching it for 10 straight years like they have, and it's like, okay, fine, but still, the way I've been watching it, I loved it. I've loved everything about the show. However, Season 7 is definitely the worst season. And that doesn't mean that I hated it. That's not saying it's a horrible season. It's just saying so far, this is the weakest one. One of my biggest complaints about the season is, well, let's talk about how it starts, because it starts where Season 6 ended. Castiel became God. He took in all those souls, and it seemed like he was becoming power hungry, losing his mind in some way. And I was like, holy crap, Castiel as God. I can't wait to see what they do with that. And the first episode, sure, he is this powerful God who you even see him go to a church and he pronounces himself, and what he does to the pastor, I'm like, holy crap, this is getting good. But then his body starts to deteriorate, and by the end of the first episode of Season 7, he loses his god powers, and then you see these Leviathan creatures that are in his body, and it looks like he dies. The very first episode, it seems like it's presumed that Castiel has died. He goes into this lake and just turns into nothing. His jacket's there, and you're like, what the fuck? Really? That's how we're going to get rid of Castiel? Sure, he comes back eventually, but he's gone for more than half the season. I was very upset to see that. And when you see these Leviathan creatures, they try to build them up as these all-powerful, like, they're impossible to kill, and they're supposed to be the biggest threat that Sam and Dean has ever faced, but I never got that feeling watching them. I was never afraid of them. I was never like, holy crap. I did think it was interesting in the one episode where they were somehow able to clone Sam and Dean, and these two clones went to Sadie City, and they were bank robbing and killing people. They killed, it seems like, hundreds of people in this episode. The clones, by the way. So this made Sam and Dean, the real Sam and Dean, fugitives. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, holy crap, so this is going to make them almost fugitives that can't really do what they've been doing. They have to be more in the dark. But no. Once they kill the clones, it seems like all is forgotten. And it's like, come on, guys. You could have done something really cool and interesting with this. But, like, one person recognizes them. When they pretend to be the detectives at every crime scene, one of these cops should recognize them. And when we see the leader of the Leviathans, this guy, Dick Roman, who is, well, he's pretending to be a billionaire, that his whole plan is he's going to buy a bunch of fast food places, and he's going to poison the food to, I guess, control people. And then his ultimate goal is to kill off every other creature so that him and his Leviathans can feed off of humans, be the only ones that can do it. And again, I didn't care. One big thing that came out of the season was the death of Bobby. And I was pretty upset to see that. Bobby, for as long as he's been there, I didn't think they were ever going to kill him. And then they killed him. And what was even more messed up is, after his death, he still hung around as a ghost. And I didn't really know where that was going to go, but it was just creepy to see Bobby sort of slowly become what he's been hunting for all of these years. A soul that loses his way, gets a little evil at some points, and it's like, crap, this is pretty sad. One thing that I guess you could say I'm back and forth on is Sam going crazy. Because throughout the season, especially the first half, Sam is constantly just hallucinating, seeing Lucifer. Because after he was trapped in Lucifer's cage and then brought out and then got his soul back, sure, there was a possibility that he was going to go crazy. We heard this. And that part of me that appreciated the fact that they were following through with it, that they did have consequences for what happened to Sam, I was like, okay. But the hallucinations of Lucifer got a little annoying. Sometimes they were funny, but then other times I was just like, dude, go the fuck away. And then he wasn't there for like 5 or 6 episodes, and I thought, okay, good. And then he comes back. And it's like hardcore hallucinations again. And I'm like, no, I thought Sam was getting better. What the hell? So this is where it gets great, because Castiel, I guess, made his way out of a lake. He got married by this woman who was taking care of him. He thinks he's this guy, Emmanuel, who has these powers to heal people. So then Dean finds him, because at this point Sam's in the mental hospital. Imagine that. So Castiel, when he finds out, or when he remembers who he is, and he becomes full-fledged Castiel again, I guess the only way for him to help Sam is to absorb the craziness into himself. So then Sam's now okay, but Castiel is stuck in the mental hospital now. And I'm like, again, guys, but Castiel, what the hell? Why can't we do something with this character? Why? It's almost like they wanted to kill him off, but they didn't really want to kill him off, or maybe they thought you couldn't have Cass around for the Leviathans. Maybe he's too powerful to where they couldn't be as much of a threat, even though I wasn't afraid of them, like I said. And maybe they couldn't kill Bobby with Castiel being there. I get all that. That is challenging. So I get wanting to get rid of him. But I think it could have been done better. Really rubbed me the wrong way with how Castiel was handled throughout the season. But let's talk about some of the good stuff. Some of the stuff that I did enjoy from the season. We got a lot of new characters, like Frank. Frank was this guy who was aware of the Leviathans. He had his own hideout with these computers that he hacked into their systems, trying to figure out what was going on. And I liked him. I liked him and Dean's relationship especially, because he was so sarcastic, and just the two of them interacting I thought was pretty funny. Then we met Garth, who is played by this actor DJ Qualls, if you guys know who he is. And the first episode, I didn't really care too much about him. I just thought he was there just to be there. But the next episode, he was hilarious. I loved everything about how his character was used. I don't know if it was the fact of him playing Belle Biv DeVoe after he got finished doing a job, or if when he was investigating a morgue, a crime scene, he used the alias Colonel James Brown. Again, hilarious. Then we met this girl, Charlie the hacker, who she worked at Dick Roman's office, and Sam and Dean ended up coming into contact with her to help them infiltrate his computer, hack his system and whatnot. And she was just a really cool character. She was into geeky stuff, superhero stuff, and I liked the way she was used in the episode. And of course, she was cute. Now, one character, speaking of helping Sam and Dean, one character who has been around since season 1, Meg. Yes, Meg came back, and now I'm at the point where I like the fact that they haven't killed her off, that she's now become a demon that's helping Sam and Dean. I mean, sure, it's for the benefit of herself and staying safe, but still I like the fact that they've done that, because I thought the way that they used Ruby was a missed opportunity to have a demon character that was actually good or could be an ally. Now, sure, Meg's not good, but still I like the fact that she's around. Another thing that was going on was we met this girl that Sam met years ago when he was a kid, and he liked her, but then he finds out that she was a creature that ate human brains. And he let her go because she promised she wouldn't do it again, and he liked her. So many years later now, we see that she's doing it again. And when Sam catches up with her now, she reveals that she's only doing it to save her son because her son is sick. And he can only have fresh human brains because she's been working at a morgue to eat already dead brains, and that's how she's been living. So Sam, once again, lets her go. When Dean finds this out, he's not so sure. He doesn't trust her. He thinks she's a creature. She'll do it again. So he goes and kills her behind Sam's back. And that's one of those situations where I actually understood Dean's point of view, where he was coming from. But I guess it just sucked to see a character like her die because I wish they kept her around more than just the first episode we saw her. The next episode where we saw this Egyptian god put Dean on trial for his guilt of his sins, I thought was really interesting. We finally saw a ghost version of Joe, so that was cool. Some of my favorite episodes from this season came from the non-Leviathan episodes. Imagine that. The one episode where Dean goes back in time to team up with Elliot Ness, who's a hunter, I guess, was awesome. It was beyond awesome. And the fact that the villain in that episode was played by Logan, if anyone watches Veronica Mars. I just thought that was very cool. And then the episode where Sam, his fear of clowns that was mentioned in the first season, I love that they brought that back, and just seeing Sam run away and then get beat up by 2 clowns, just hilarious. But that brings me to the finale. How the season ends where Sam and Dean figure out a way to kill Dick. Thank God, right? But the ending with, because Crowley can never be trusted, Dean and Castiel end up in purgatory. And just how creepy that looked with Dean in that dark wooded area and all of those pissed off souls surrounding him with red eyes. It was creepy. Here's a guy who's been to hell and back, literally, and I'm still in a place where I'm like, holy crap, how is Dean gonna get out of the situation? So overall, I know the beginning of this sounded like I ranted and hated this season. I didn't hate it though. I just didn't care for the Leviathan stuff and for how Castiel was treated, but there still were plenty of episodes that I enjoyed that kept me going through the season. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Season 7? Do you dislike it as much as I do? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!